About 2 fingers in, I have this little skinny tree right over here. He goes straight up and he's got a ton of just little bitty branches coming off of him. Then our small mountain that's back there, and he's just kind of a little bit rounder. He's going to have his branches out, and then we're going to go over another hand, and we've got 2 skinny trees. Look how tall they are. So we've got one skinny one right here going all the way up, and his friend is right next door to him going straight up as well. They're a little bit taller. They're going to reach up into this yellow part of the sky. Right back here, they're going to be filling in that hole right there. So in the back, to put in, and then we'll worry about these big guys in the front. And here's kind of the trick with these branches and everything else as we get going with this. With this little brush, you can get a very skinny line just there, right here. So he's going to be about a hand's width tall. So I'm just going to take my tree trunk and I'm going to go just like this. And I'm going to give myself just a little stick. And let's just drop that stick in place. But I don't want it to connect at the same exact spot or I'll have a huge pitchfork. I want to come up a little ways and then I can come off. They don't reach out quite as far. They're reaching up towards the sky a little bit more. But off of each one of those, we're going to have all these little bitty branches. And I'm pushing very lightly. Very, very lightly, so they will just kind of be nice and skinny. Nice. This little one is going to go almost all the way up to the top. And then we have one more big one here going all the way up to the top of the canvas. I want you to work on those little black paint. Now, we're going to put these 2 trees that we had in between these 2 babies here. So maybe just about a finger width over from this one that we've already put on. We're just going to start at the bottom. So maybe I'll go about 3 fingers in from the bottom. I want to make sure that my 3 fingers gives me enough space to get on the inside of this tree. And I'm going to make this bottom tree trunk, I'm going to thicken it up a little bit. I'm going to make, and don't be afraid to let them cross. So this whole section is going to be filled with these little bitty branches. You'll have one here, one down here. I'm not going to worry too much about these branches because they're going to be all covered with all of this covering up that tree trunk. And as we get going, if you get lost and confused and you cover it up anyways, it's the simplest fix ever. You can cover it up and then you'll go back at the end and just add in that black tree trunk again and it'll be like it never happened. In the foreground are all going to get layers of purple leaves, okay? And then we're also going to put purple bushes and leaves in the foreground and in the background back here along this mountain range. I am going to be careful to go in between my trees though, these big ones in the front. So my bush here, if there's bushes covering up the bottom of those trees, that's fine. We don't care about that, but we're going to make sure. So we'll get purple all over, and then we're going to do fluorescent purple. And we'll do fluorescent purple all over in the trees, all the trees, and then all over in the bushes as well. Okay, they're going to go on. But let's start there just so we're just going to be tapping in like this. I'm literally taking the brush and just bouncing it off the canvas. Purple paint, dark purple, and watch what's going to happen. I'm going to just make little clouds, little rounded clouds along the tips of each of these stems. Just a little bit. And I'm keeping these like little bitty clouds all clustered together of purple paint all over on all my trees. Now I want to do the same thing in the background and the foreground on the land. Sky and these 2. So maybe over here in the back, I just make myself a little mound, just like we did down here. We made these little mounds, these little piles. I'll do the same thing. I'm going to add just a sprinkling. I just went around that tree, an apple color. And everywhere that I had some purple leaves, I'm going to now put in hot pink right on top of it, that hot purple color. So let's make this come over here and make one actual little bush right there. See the difference? So we'll just kind of let these be a little bit more rounded and be a little bit more connected so they're not just polka dots. And then we'll do highlights and we're done, you guys. That's it. Just be sure down here, like I went around so you can add in a little bit of yellow. And I want you to go easy and slow with this because the yellow is beautiful. This is where this all just starts to come to life and really pop. But if we keep adding on the yellow, we'll start picking up more purple, and all of a sudden it's going to get really dingy and muddy. Wipe off your brush when you need to, or clean it off in the water if you have to. I'm going to do the same thing in my bushes. I'm going to grab a little bit of yellow. Just adds a little bit of light all along there. We have one color left. That's it. We are going to add in a little bit of that like hot red, that fluorescent red color. Clean off your brush really well. An orangey tinge to it. If you're using straight up hot pink, that's good too. And we're going to go in and just add a few pops of this color. We do not need a ton of it. We already have this nice and full. It's got so much color. We don't really need to add much more color to each little tree, each little branch. And that'll be the end of that. But same thing, it doesn't have to go all the way across. Our purple we put all the way across, both purples. Doesn't need to do that. You can just have little sections of this, almost like these are little flowers. So in here I'm just going to go kind of sparingly. If you want to keep them, like little rounded areas like I just did right here, put like a little bit, patches of flowers working in here. Make this pop a little bit, because these trees laying against this dark mountain back there just kind of falls flat. It's a little dead. I want to bring those into the forefront. I want you to be able to see the definition, see the difference between the two. So we're actually going to highlight those trees with a little bit of yellow. And it's very simple and quick, and it's easy to fix too if you kind of mess it up. So I might start right here with this big one just so you can see it. So I'm going to move on to my little brush. We've done all of yellow, and notice what I'm going to do here. Just down the side of my tree trunks, I'm going to just kind of scratch in so it kind of looks like bark a little bit. I'm going to scratch in a little bit of yellow highlight. And there's areas like this where this tree is coming across. I could highlight that branch right there so you could actually see it coming across doing its own thing. And as you're going with this, if you feel like you put some yellow on there and it just gets really bright and it's too much, all you have to do is go back into your black paint and paint it black. This one as well. And like I said, if you get a little area where you're like, oh, I hate branches, if you want. You are now official Pinot's palette artists.